You're smart, you're motivated, you want to do something big. You're on the verge of being a young boss, and we're going to help you get there. I'm your host, Isabel Barrino, and welcome to the Young Boss Podcast, where youth is your power. It takes money to make money. The truth is, very few businesses can be started for little to no money or investment. Whether it's actual dollars to purchase an office space or online subscriptions to softwares and CRMs, or the time and energy and money you've invested in learning about your industry and taking time to hone the skills necessary to succeed. But today we're talking about financial planning for growth and why planning is crucial for scaling your business. Every business requires initial investment, but how much capital do you truly need and where will it come from? One of the hardest things about starting a business as a young boss is going to be the capital side of things. You likely have a great business concept, products, services, and motivation, all the necessary things that make up a successful business, but you don't have the capital yet. I get it. It takes people years to build wealth in this economy, but you're not SOL, okay? There's a variety of ways to raise capital, but before you go out and raise it, you need to raise the question of how much capital do I need to get where I want to go? And there's a balance. When you think about how much capital you need to raise for your business, you really want to lay out all of the different components. What are you going to need to get it boots off the ground, to have that first initial boost out there? And then what marketing dollars are you going to need to get people to know and understand who you are and get them to come into your door or use your products or services? And then the longevity. How much time is it going to be until you're in the black, until you're actually cash flowing and doing well? And then you always need to over project, because little things like COVID could come along or a totally unexpected cost that you really couldn't have accounted for. So laying out that business plan is going to be so important for you to gather all of that data and information. And then you need to determine, where is the money going to go? Which bucket is it going to fall into? And once you have your business plan, get it in front of a mentor or coach, someone who's been there, done that, so they can say, have you thought about this? Did you consider that? There may be some pieces to the puzzle that you're forgetting or missing out on. But luckily for business owners, there's a myriad of ways to raise capital, and having a diverse portfolio of investments in your business might be to your advantage. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each type of investor that you may be working with. If you have money saved up for your business, that's going to be the most hassle-free option. You have full control over that cash with no repayment pressure or risk of conflict with, say, your friends or family or business partner. However, you may not have enough saved to meet all of your capital needs. And let's be honest, there's a lot of risk in flooding your own cash, your own life savings into your business. And honestly, nobody likes asking friends or family for money or financial help. But they're likely going to be the ones who support you and believe in you. The benefits of raising money from friends and family include flexible repayment terms and lower interest rates, quick access to having cash, and having that support network, that fan section, those people who are encouraging you along the way. They probably believe in you more than any other stranger would. But here's why I don't always recommend borrowing from friends and family. You risk the relationship. Did you know the number one reason for divorce in America is money? And I doubt that's exclusive to marriages. So be careful what you wish for. If you are going to work with friends or family, get everything documented. That's my number one rule. No matter if you don't know the person or they're your best friend, okay? You have to have documentation. If you really need money, like money, large sums of money, your best bet is going to be to go to a bank. But do your research. Each bank has very different requirements for business lending. For instance, Chase Bank, they only lend to businesses who've been incorporated for 2 or more years. And the benefits of a bank loan include access to significant capital, structured and consistent payment plans, and the benefit of working with a professional institution. But the downsides of borrowing from a bank include oftentimes strict qualification parameters and interest. Remember, it costs money to make money, and it costs money to borrow money, okay? So keep that in mind when you're going to a bank. Syndications, that's an interesting one. A syndication is a group of investors with a large capital pool, combining money from a wide net of investors to provide capital for larger projects and more intensive capital needs. A benefit of a syndication is the access to individuals within the syndication. There's not only a ton of wealth in a syndication, but also a ton of expertise and potential networking opportunities. There's power in numbers, but as Biggie says, mo money, mo problems. And syndications come with much more complexity. Multiple investors means shared decision-making and more cooks in the kitchen. If you're lucky enough to know the right people, you might be able to raise capital from some private money lenders who are able to offer more flexible terms and easier access to capital without all the red tape. Private money lenders are sometimes willing to take on more risk, so if you're denied by the bank, that might be the route to go. They're not as scared, right? Venture capitalists, they're okay with the risk. They don't need to see every single step along the way. They understand the future of what you're going after. That being said, private money lenders have high interest rates, usually shorter loan terms, and less regulation. All right, now that we've covered the different types to raise capital and the different routes you can go, how do you decide which type is the best for your business? I think that's really going to depend on your actual business. What are you looking to do? If you need mass amounts of money, you may need to go to a syndication or a bank because friends and family might not have what you're looking for. But if you're just looking for, money that is consistent and it's a decent amount that you can get approved for and you have some longevity in this, a bank could be the way to go. Now, if you're looking for short, quick cash, private could be your option. It really depends what you need. So asking yourself all those questions is going to be really important. Now, there are a lot of common mistakes when estimating your capital needs, and the biggest one is undercapitalization. No matter what number you think you're going to need, bake in for more, ask for more, because inevitably things are going to come up. I don't know how many times I can stress that. I have seen so many business plans where they didn't bake in either money for the person who's running the business along the way, but yet they're quitting their job going into this full time and they still have bills to pay. You need to bake in some sort of salary for yourself so you can survive along the way. Or marketing, it might take twice as much. Or the brick and mortar, what about the renovations that need to be done? If you're saying, hey, it's only going to take us 3 months, plan for 6, plan for twice the amount. You have to really pad yourself. I've, chatted with so many different business owners where they came up with a financial plan and a business plan, a pro forma, and it was not at all what they needed. They were absolutely undercapitalized, and it is embarrassing to go back to friends, family, the bank, your syndication group, or even private money and say, whoops, I made a mistake. Now they don't trust you. Now they might not want to put in more money or feel like they have to just to see that return back on their initial investment. And it can be a really sticky and messy situation. So do yourself the favor, put in the effort up front of really running your plan by someone else to say, what am I missing out on here? And then bake in some extra. Give yourself that padding. I really believe it is critical to have everything in writing when you're raising capital. Think about it. You're not going to get a loan from the bank and not sign any documents. No way, Jose. They're going to make you write down and tell them exactly what you're looking to do. And they're going to make you sign a ton of different documents that says when you're going to pay that money back, how much interest they're going to get, what your plan for all of this is along the way. But let's say you're working with friends and family. You think you don't need those same documents? Yes, you do. Write everything down. Documentation will save your relationships, and it will make sure that everybody knows and understands their roles along the way, so no one's getting blindsided. No one's feeling left out or not knowing what's going on. When you're out and about raising capital, you're going to need to be equipped with a few different documents. First, you're going to need your business plan, which includes your vision, your strategies, goals, your operational structure, timelines, all those different things. We talked about business plans a few weeks ago, so refresh and check out that episode if that's the phase you're in. Second will be your pro forma or pro formas. There's going to be a few different versions. Your income statement pro forma will include revenue projections, costs of goods sold, gross profit, operating expenses, and net income. Your balance sheet pro forma will include the basics, assets, liabilities, and equity. And then your cash flow pro forma. That includes operating, investing, and financing activities. Having the pro formas dialed in will be key and help inform potential investors and lenders about forecasts and viability and the profitability. Last and certainly not least is your PPM, Private Placement Memorandum. This is a legal document that you'll share with potential investors for private offerings. If you're going to be doing a syndication, you must have this. It is a CYA, and that's a cover your ass, okay? You have to have your PPM. It informs and protects both parties by disclosing essential information about the investment. The components of a PPM are your executive summary, the company overview, the terms of the offering, risk factors, financial information, management and governance, and legal and regulatory disclosures, as well as your subscription agreement and exit strategy. Listen, everyone who's giving you capital, whether it's a bank, whether it's private money, friend or family, they are betting on the jockey, not the horse. They want to know how they're going to get their money back. That is the most important thing that they are worried about. But they also want to trust you. So a well-prepared PPM is crucial for any company looking to raise capital with private investors. Hey, why waste your time doom scrolling when you could be learning how to raise capital, manage a team, or be a boss? It's time to level up and hit that subscribe button for the Young Boss Podcast. Now, back to the show. If you have a really informal agreement, right? Just like a piece of paper that says, you're going to give me $500K and I'm going to start a flower business. Whoa. When are they getting their money back? What is the money going towards? What's the timeline? What's the interest? What are the payouts looking like? There are so many questions and things can go awry. So please, I beg you, get things documented. If you need to work with someone, get yourself a business lawyer who's been through this, who's helped countless other business owners and operators get these documents down. You know, I've had friends who've started business on a handshake. My dad used to be a handshake guy too. Like, it's not unheard of. A lot of people do this. But then I've heard the horror stories on the other end of it. Someone dies and it was a single member LLC, and now that investment is out the window, or it's not being passed on to their partner or their family, and everything just goes to crap, okay? Really be cautious and careful. You don't want to be leaving people with debt, with questions, with unpaid, things that are owed to them. You want to protect relationships. You have a relationship with the bank. You have a relationship with the private equity, with the people you're syndicating with. Don't think when I'm saying protect relationships, it's only if you're going the friends and family route. It's with everyone. Because guess what? If this business is successful, you may want to go back to that bank and ask for more later. And so if you didn't protect the relationship, if you didn't honor the contract, they're not going to want to work with you again. They're going to blacklist you, and it's going to be really hard for you to work with other banks who look at what happened before and say, this guy didn't pay up. This guy didn't do what he said he was going to do. So think about it this way. Documentation isn't just about legality. It's about maintaining trust and clarity, especially with friends and family. When you get married, you sign a document that legally binds you as spouses. That's to protect the institution of marriage. You can no longer just split and wipe your hands clean. You are now responsible to go through a bureaucratic process of divorce to terminate that relationship. Business plans, pro formas, PPMs, these are there to protect the institution of investing and raising capital in business. Do not treat your business casually. Protect yourself at all times, especially when it comes to raising or spending other people's money. Be diligent, be responsible. There's times where I've seen proper documentation save business misunderstandings because they can just go back to the contract and say, actually, right here, it says all of these different things. Even when, my own family members have had business dealings that didn't go right back to the contract. What is said, what is agreed upon, and that has actually helped people maintain friendships and be able to stay cool when business dealings didn't go the right way. So we've covered the necessity of capital, where to raise capital, and the importance of proper documentation and paperwork. And the last thing to cover are the practical considerations involved in scaling your business. Is your business truly in a spot to successfully scale? Take a restaurant, for example. The restaurant is only open for dinner service from 4 to 10 p.m. And the floor plan has been comfortably maxed out with enough tables to pay the bills, but also provide a somewhat intimate experience for diners. You face two challenges. First, you've maxed out the square footage and the amount of tables you can fit. Second, you can't turn the tables faster than 2 hours per turn without significantly compromising the quality of the experience that you provide and pissing off your customers. So you're up against space and the quality of your product, but you still have time. Time is still on your side. And while staying open until 11 p.m. or starting service at 3 p.m. isn't likely the best option, you can introduce a lunch service from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. You could also add online ordering and delivery options like DoorDash or Uber Eats, and maybe you carve out a little patio somewhere on your property. Perhaps it's not floor space or quality you're up against. Maybe your kitchen simply can't handle any more tickets at night. Well, every business reason for scaling is unique. And oftentimes it's birthed out of a necessity or a challenge that they're facing. Pity's Popcorn, who we had on for season 1, had to close operations because they were at a point of growth that if they pursued, it would have significantly impacted operations from needing a larger space to hire more people. Some people just don't want to deal with that, and fair enough, right? But what you're going to have to do is think creatively. Where am I going to get the money? How am I going to staff properly? What systems do I need to change or optimize? It's never straightforward, but when done successfully and properly, it's incredibly rewarding. And to be real with you, growth requires a lot of work, maybe even more than what was required of you to get your feet off the ground. You're going to experience a lot of the same challenges and limitations you did when you first started. Identifying and overcoming these challenges and limitations will be critical to the success and growth of your business. When you're considering scaling, you really need to think about preserving what you already have. What you don't want to lose while you scale is how good your first business is run, what the customers love about the first business, what your employees and your culture is like in the first business. Oftentimes I talk to business owners who their dream is to scale, but as soon as they get that second shop, yikes, culture goes down the drain. And now their time and energy is being split so many different ways that the initial business just starts to fail. That is not okay. You really need to consider what could be lost when you grow and really put the time and energy into not letting that happen. Now, there are signs that maybe it is time to scale your business. You are having to say no to customers, or you really need to put a brick and mortar into place because being online, you don't have, the time or capacity to be doing it, and you need one central location that people can be coming to. All these different things are important for you to consider, and then write out that business plan. Oftentimes I've written business plans and said, actually, it's not worth the time, energy, money, and effort it would take to scale. I think that this business is kind of capped out as is. You need to start asking yourself those different questions. Is it demand? Is it more money that you want? Is it your personal goals? What is it? One of the things Joel Yee, founder of Scale Team Circle and Scale Asia, mentioned on the podcast that I found was so interesting was the concept of work-life integration, not balance. Integration. And I think that's super key for moments like this in an entrepreneur's life. During this process of scaling, it's vital to integrate not just your business's goals, but also your personal goals into the growth plan. How does this next step affect you personally? How does it affect your family, your coworkers? How will you be personally impacted financially? You really have to think about all those different components and the importance of integrating your personal and your business goals, because many times our business goals, they don't actually match with our personal goals. So if you've only written down what you want to accomplish in business and you've never written down what you want to accomplish personally or where you see your life, like how many hours of the day do you really want to be working? Where do you want to be spending your time? Do you want to be running your business from a yacht in Europe, or are you looking to be working 10, 12-hour days because you are trying to scale? If you haven't had that clear vision of both of your goals, both segments of your life, you will start slipping. You will start overcommitting or pushing past your own boundaries just to accomplish that money goal. Because let's be real, if you're listening to this show, you're either an entrepreneur or you want to become one. And so money, business, goals, those are all words that you love. You're probably thinking all the time, how can I achieve this? How can I accomplish this? But if you have to give up what you want personally to do it, Are you willing to make that sacrifice? I mean, we've been doing this show for a year and a half now, and I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs come on here and tell us that managing your finances and getting your books in order is at the top of everybody's list, no matter what business they're in, no matter the type of entrepreneurship, big business, solopreneur, you name it. If your finances are aloof, you will be too. So get things in alignment. At the same time, seeing your finances grow, seeing them deployed in different avenues, seeing them working for you, that's an incredible feeling. Securing capital is one of those journeys that can really change your life. It can change your business, both of which must be aligned when working towards your financial planning for growth. Remember, you have options for raising capital, but always, always, always document everything. It protects you and your potential investors and your reputation. Strategize and execute. It's the name of the game. Thanks for listening to another episode of Young Boss with your host, Isabel Guarino. Be sure to like, share, and follow on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And let us know, are you planning to bootstrap or raise capital? We'll see you next time.